So then an example of a flat character versus a more three-dimensional character.
Right.
Like even just in a description of something.
Yeah.
You give me one sentence that's flat versus one that's
Right.
tells you volumes
Right.
and it's one sentence.
Right. So you see this a lot. I mean, this is more about cliche writing. So you get like a character description where, you know, I read this all the time, you know, she's beautiful or handsome. You know, it's the same.
Tells me
same,
nothing.
it says, right. I mean, you know, it's the same old if you've seen 100 times. You know, so you got to be a little more creative. It's about creativity and originality too. I think originality comes from being curious, because the more curious you are about something, the more you know about something, and so the more you can avoid copying something. Right? I think the people who write who have cliche writing, because they don't know what's been done before, so they go to them it's new, and they go, oh, they think it's good, but people who know and they've seen it 100 times because they're curious will say it's cliche because they've seen it 100 times.
Versus the character description of somebody that, you know, his eyes sparkled, or I mean, that's so
yeah,
cliche.
Right. It's that whole cliche thing, right? They just don't bother to go deeper. You know what I mean? You got to be original. I mean, that's another thing. Originality is very important. You know, because if you read the same thing over and over, you're just gonna you're not gonna respond to it. You know. So really, that is actually the bane of the writer's existence, especially the screenwriter, to come up with something new. I mean, when you think about, I think in the second edition of the 101 Habits, Bill Marsili, one of the screenwriters there, talks about doing the 20s. So for him, like everything that he thinks about, any event, any scene, character, whatever, he thinks of kind of listing 20 different ways of doing it. Like if it's like talk about the meet cute, right, in a romantic comedy, how people meet in a cute way. Well, he's going to do 20 different thoughts about it. Okay, they can mean this, they can do this. I mean, you have to do, he does 20, because the first 2 or 3 or 5 of them will be cliches. Will be things that, you know, you're automatically going to think about them because they're the most famous ones. They're the most that we've seen 100 times. But by going deeper, and he forces himself to go deeper, that's where you get the creativity and the originality. And eventually, when you reach that past the 10 or 12, 15, all the way up to 20, you'll start getting some really original ways because you forced yourself. And so that's what the writer needs to do. You got to force yourself to go deeper in order to create some original writing.
Right. So getting all that, like number 1 through 5 is probably just total.
Usually, yeah.
Cliche.
You could try it as a game. It's a
Right,
tip that he uses as a
like
you know, habit of creativity, to just do the 20 for anything. You know, 20 different ways to rob a bank, 20 different ways to say I love you, 20 different ways to break up with someone, 20 different ways to kill someone. I mean, there's all these things that you've seen 100 times, and when you see it over and over, you go, you know, you go, huh. You know, because you've seen it 100 times. And it's only the movies that break out, the stories that break out are the ones that are kind of truly original, right?
So let's take the movie Green Card, okay? Gerard Depardieu
right.
and Andie MacDowell. So
Sure.
that would be probably further down the list. I would think it's a cute movie. It's
right.
very original.
It was an interesting, I mean, that's the thing, that's what I love about romantic comedies, is that it's such a set story in terms of shape, in terms of structure, in terms of boy gets girl, you know, vice versa. You know, girl gets boy, loses boy, gets girl at the end. It's the same thing. All romantic comedies are the same, literally. But the ones that I think are, you know, that we pay attention to, will become successful, are the ones that have a unique angle to it. It's that hook, right? Same thing, only different. That only different is the ones like Green Card, or any other, you know, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or even The Breakup, which is like, okay, it's a romantic comedy where it's like they break up as opposed to, you know, getting together. It's like, so whenever you come up with a unique angle to that story that we all know, the better for you. That's where originality comes in, you know. So, and it gets harder and harder because, you know, the more romantic comedies there is, the harder it is to come up with something new. So, you know, that's the way it is.